Hello friends and welcome back to the channel, and folks, today is a great day in MCOC because today is the day that I finally get to show you some gameplay of 7-star Viv Vision. Now you may know that Viv is one of my favorite champions in the game, and for this video I wanted to do something a little bit different than just show off a bunch of fights. Because truthfully I have a lot of Viv content on the channel already showing her in a variety of matchups, but one thing I don't have is footage and numbers pertaining to her range as a 7-star. So what do I mean by range here? So if you aren't familiar with how Viv works, she's essentially designed to cash out quickly on a single damage loop, and after that she takes an incredibly long time to kind of recharge. So in any matchup where she cannot KO the defender in that single damage loop, she becomes vulnerable and truthfully a bit impractical to use. As such, it is very important to know how much health you can expect to remove in that single damage loop, and in other words, you need to know the range of her damage. So what I did was I recorded fights with Viv at all 4 available ranks as a 7-star, along with the Ascended 6-star, which I kind of used as a control group. And I recorded those fights using both her standard damage rotation and what I would call her extended damage rotation. So as a quick reminder, the standard rotation is you use a special 2 to generate solar energy, and then you spam special 1s until she runs out. The extended damage rotation is essentially the same thing, but you first use your special 3 to get the Fury buff, then you use the special 2, then you spam the special 1s. Takes a little bit longer, but still very effective. And if you want more information on how to use Viv, I do have a guide available on the channel for that. So all of these fights were done against a rank 4 7-star defender, so no challenger rating bonus there, no boosts were used, no synergies were used, and I used my standard mastery setup for all of them. Alright, I'm going to put the numbers up on screen here. Let's cover the standard rotation fights first. So obviously the damage numbers are going to look pretty good compared to that Ascended 6-star, other than the rank 1, which of course you would expect to be lower. And we're capping off here at just shy of 670,000 hit points for the rank 4. Now, my biggest takeaway here is that Viv is going to perform much better, much more consistently as a 7-star than as a 6-star. And I know that seems like the most obvious statement I could possibly make, but what I mean by that is that one of the biggest issues Viv had before was that she was locked as a 6-star, and thus she had huge issues punching up, especially when 7-star defenders became much more common. And looking at these numbers here, which again are against a 7-star rank 4 defender, that issue looks to be a thing of the past. A rank 2 being able to clear nearly 500,000 hit points in 3 bars of power is pretty significant, and a rank 3 should have no issues punching up in a Battlegrounds fight. A rank 4 actually probably ends a Battlegrounds or even like a path, maybe a mini boss fight in War before she runs out of special 1s, and that is a very, very interesting thought for me in particular. Alright, let's shift over to the extended rotation numbers. As you might expect, the gains are very similar to the standard rotation, but with more overall health being removed. Now recall that this rotation requires 6 bars of power rather than 3, so almost twice as long. And the last column here shows you the delta in health that you can expect to clear by taking the extra time to get that special 3, get that Fury buff. Now obviously you can see this scaling up as well, and the big takeaway here is that by utilizing this rotation, an entirely new class of health pool is kind of open to Viv going forward. You know, she is not designed for lengthy Everest fights or enormous health pools, and it's never ever going to be where she excels in this game, but it is kind of nice to know that when called upon, she can put a huge dent in a health pool like that. Now, you may have noticed that the last row here is empty and has so far been unaccounted for, probably wondering what it's for. So my primary game mode in MCOC is Alliance War, and at the level that I play War at, you do all of your fights while max boosted, both for safety and for expediency. And I do expect Viv to see some action in War, probably because I'll just assign her to myself, but I was curious what a fully boosted Viv would do to a health pool, and the answer is quite a bit. Nearly 1 million health points in the standard damage rotation, and a whopping 1.3 million in the extended rotation. Now, one thing that really bothered me about this last set of fights in particular is that Viv came up just shy of actually finishing the fight in that standard damage rotation one. So the Storm that I've been using for all these test fights was from the CCP server, has about 1.1 million HP, and Viv came up about 120,000 or so short of the KO in that standard damage rotation fight. But then I remembered that they shipped a bug fix with this buff, and it basically gives her more damage on her heavy attack if you use the heavy to invalidate prowess. Storm, of course, gets prowess whenever you crit her, so she will have some in this fight here and there. So having said that, I went back in, changed up my playstyle just a bit, and well, take a look for yourself. That is 1.1 million HP in 68 seconds with no damage taken. That's the good stuff. The last point I want to make here is that everything that I've talked about, everything that I've showed you here today, comes with one huge caveat, and it's the reason why I suspect that Viv will be the least popular rank up from this group of Rebirth champions, and that is her Awakened ability. So if you are going to rank Viv up, you not only need her Awakened, you really do need her at max sig. It's unfortunate, but it is the reality of the situation. All of the tests that I ran here today were with a Viv at max sig because I am planning on dumping whatever sigs we get into her, but you may feel differently, and it's important for you to know that if you want to get the most out of her, you really need to get her up to max sig. Alright folks, I think that's going to do it for this one. If you are interested in Viv as a 7-star, maybe we're considering ranking her up. I hope that this provided a lot of good information for you, maybe made your decision a little bit easier. If you enjoyed this, please let me know by hitting that like button, leaving me a comment below. Maybe tell me what 2 champs in particular you are most looking forward to getting from this Rebirth pool. For me, Viv obviously number 1, Anti-Venom though is going to be my second choice, but I am curious to hear what you think about it as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.